I'm an avid collector of things and objects, often rearranging them into compartments. I spend a lot of time drawing and documenting many of these objects, as well as exploring local flora and fauna. This type of fieldwork acts as a foundation and is where I often begin the process of building my images and patterns. I often draw inspiration from 19th century natural history collections, scientific and botanical illustrations, as well as drawing from the urban Canadian landscape. Many of these forms and objects that have been collected are drawn up and arranged into repeated patterns, which are then used as background layers. While the patterns are very fluid, they create an intersection between nature and organization. Each project begins to illustrate animal nature and the complexities of the changing landscape, emphasizing how various paths of nature have been interrupted. My interests in landscape, as well as naturalistic forms within architecture, have evolved into fictitious environments, constructing stories from merging elements, both imagined and real. I work on several projects at once, both 2D and 3D, because I find that they inform each other both technically and conceptually. So I often go back and forth between the work. This is where I begin the plate work for the etchings. A hard wax ground is rolled onto a sheet of copper, and I begin to draw out the images using a scriber or sharp tool, pulling up the wax ground and exposing the metal. Once the drawing is done, the plate is placed in a bath of acid, removing the exposed metal and the area that has been drawn, creating a well where the ink will eventually sit. This is done in numerous steps, creating a variety of line work and values. Once the ground is removed and the drawing is complete, the plate is then wiped with ink and printed on a large press. I primarily print and work with Gampi tissue because of its sustainable lineage, but also it displays a visceral quality that easily transforms the printed mark into something with a physical presence. The paper is delicate in appearance, but strong and resilient in function due to its long fibers. The paper is transparent and translucent both at the same time. It's easily activated, and the tonality of the paper, its onion-like surface and sharp sounds, transforms the printed mark into something more physical. I use a lot of printed color fields through each installation, as well as for the assembled components. Each color field is built up using monoprinting techniques on a printing press. A large field of colored ink is rolled out onto a piece of acrylic, paper is laid on top, and it's then run through the press, transferring the color onto the Gampi. This is done multiple times with a series of layered colors, creating semi-transparent areas, saturated colors, and gradients. Everything is then collected and taken back to my studio to cut, organize, and assemble. While I'm composing, the prints evolve into a small series of varied unique prints, eventually expanding into a small wall installations using paper, print, and sculpture assemblages.